Week 3 of the NFL season is complete, and this is Jeff Bell here again with several dynasty stashes that you can make in your leagues. We have 12 different players today, and again, we use a 50% rostership threshold in Sleeper. Starting off, we're going to start off with Jameis Winston from the New Orleans Saints, and he's only 31% rostered in Sleeper. We know Jameis Winston's reputation, but Derek Carr left Sunday's game after a brutal hit that saw him hospitalized. Winston came in and played passable football with 10 of 16 passes completed for 101 yards, although the Packers were able to make a comeback after trailing 17-0 against the Saints. Winston is a must roster in Superflex leagues where he is available. Given Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and the return of Alvin Kamara in week 4, Winston has a high ceiling and immediately jumps several quarterback options that people are considering in Superflex leagues, probably landing towards a back-end quarterback too, given the amount of talent in that offense. Another injury situation that we saw on Sunday was Mike Williams leaving the Chargers game. And so it sounds like it was a scary knee injury that could see Williams miss most of the rest of the season. And we're waiting for further word on that. Now, Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston are going to be the primary beneficiaries if Wilson is able to miss significant time. But Donald Parham Jr. is worth a look. He's only 23% rostered in Sleeper. Parham Jr. had 2 touchdowns in Sunday's game, and at 4 red zone targets, he has emerged as really the secondary option in the red zone behind Keenan Allen in that offense. He's splitting snaps almost equally with Gerald Everett, and again, he's getting the higher value targets while Everett is getting a little bit more volume. He's a player that can be added in messy tight end situations and a what the heck flex, really, when it comes down to kind of throwing a dart on trying to fill a deeper tight end position. Miami's offense obviously scored the 70 points and was the major talk of the weekend. And an offense like this, we want to grab whatever parts we possibly can. Devin Achane had the major breakout, and Raheem Mostert had a fantastic performance as well. Both of those players are going to be rostered in every single league that we're talking about here. But players to watch that could give you entrance into this offense at a low value level are running back Chris Brooks, who had 16% ownership in Sleeper, and then Julian Hill, who's only 1% Sleeper rostered. He's a tight end. Julian Hill was injured and missed most of the first 2 games, but he really took that role from Durham Smythe, a player that we mentioned here in week 1, and he outsnapped him almost a 3-to-1 ratio. So Julian Hill is probably the most intriguing add out of this group, although Brooks could see immediate value should Achane or Raheem Mostert miss any time. Next, we're going to dive through several backup running back situations that are under 50% rostership. And as the season has shown, backup options are things that we want to grab for sure, because backup running backs can immediately gain value. So first up, Gary Brightwell from the New York Giants, 12% sleeper rostered. He's the immediate backup to Matt Breida. And as much as the dynasty community wants to get on Eric Gray, it really looks like Brightwell would be the player that steps up with any sort of opportunity. Saquon Barkley has announced he had a high ankle sprain, and that should be a multiple week absence. And while Breida is the immediate gainer here, Brightwell is worth rostering in these deeper leagues to give you a situation that a player that can immediately accrue some value. Another injury in the Baltimore backfield. We've had 3 games now, and we've had 3 Baltimore running backs leave with injury. J.K. Dobbins week 1, Justice Hill week 2, and then Gus Edwards had a concussion in week 3. And that leaves Kenyan Drake at 14% rostership and Melvin Gordon at 29% rostership as the 2 available options in the backfield. Gordon saw the majority of the rushing work with Edwards missing time, while Drake was a little bit more involved in his first week in the passing game. And so I don't know that you want to spend any fab on these players because we know what they are at this point. There's not really value to be accrued here, but still there could be situational spot starts. And if you're someone that's struggling with injuries, looking for somebody to immediately plug in, one of these players could be an option to add. Although I expect when Justice Hill comes back healthy and Gus Edwards is healthy as well, those are still going to be the 2 Baltimore running backs you want outside of a major trade acquisition. Ronnie Rivers from the Los Angeles Rams is 28% sleeper rostership, and he looks like the primary backup to Kyren Williams. Now, while Kyron Williams dominated the lion's share of work in week 2, we don't know what that situation is going to look like in week 3 as the Rams play on Monday night, and this is being recorded on Monday. Rivers is still worth an speculative ad, especially if your waivers are open right now, and maybe you can put a player on IR and maybe make that move prior to the game, because Rivers looks like the primary backup. 28% sleeper rostership. He is a excellent pass catching back and can be involved in that area of the game. Another direct injury opportunity player was Trey Sermon from Indianapolis. We saw him arrive midweek as the team released Deion Jackson. Now, while Zach Moss dominated touches in week 3, just like week 2, this was really the first hint towards moving towards a more committee approach for Shane Steichen's offense. Sermon and Steichen worked together in Philadelphia, so they know each other well, and Steichen ran that committee approach in Philadelphia. So while Moss is dominating opportunity right now, as Sermon gets more acclimated, and if he has success in that area, this could be a situation where you see it's more of a split of the backfield. Obviously, we're waiting to see what happens with Jonathan Taylor in this situation, as he could make both of these guys into just injury speculative ads. But right now, I think Sermon is worth adding at just 33% sleeper rostership. Tight end Cole Turner was a player that was mentioned last week. He sits at 29% sleeper rostership. With Logan Thomas missing the game against Buffalo, the Washington offense really sputtered to get anything going. But Turner was very involved. He had, I believe it was 4 receptions. I'm blanking on the number right now, and I apologize for that. But I think that this is a young player at 23 years old who should be very involved moving forward. Washington can get out of Logan Thomas's number next year, at $8.3 million cap number. They can get out of $6.5 million of that. And Thomas is 32 currently. So this could be an opportunity where Eric Bieniemy's offense that we've seen be very tight end friendly in the past, Turner could claim that role and really be that player moving forward. So this might not give you an immediate high upside, but this is a speculative ad that could pay big dividends long term, and a player that you want to roster, and especially in rebuilding situations. The last two are rookie wide receivers who are speculative ads in deeper situations that contract situations could allow opportunity. Tre Tucker from Las Vegas, 31% sleeper rostership. His production popped a little bit more in week 2. He didn't do much in week 3, but he was still involved in the offense, still saw snaps. He's the clear 3rd receiving option there behind Hunter Renfrow, or 4th receiving option behind Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, obviously, and Jacoby Myers, obviously. But Tucker's got rare speed, and he brings a different element to that Raiders offense. At 31% rostership, he is worth adding in rebuilding situations as a speculative ad. And the last is Ronnie Bell from San Francisco at 16% sleeper rostership. We saw Bell's red zone utilization as Brandon Ayuk missed that game. Ronnie Bell caught that first touchdown. He wasn't overly involved in the offense, but as a late round rookie, seeing that involvement 3 weeks into the season is very encouraging. This San Francisco offense is one that we want pieces of. Brandon Ayuk should be back in week 4. But again, this is going to be a speculative long-term ad, because as you look at the 49ers roster construction contract situation, Bell, Danny Gray, and Deebo Samuel are the only players that are that are signed beyond 2024, with Brandon Ayuk having a pending free agency situation. So Bell is, again, like Tucker, a speculative deep ad in rebuilding situations, but a player who could return value. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to check out Football Guys, all of our content on YouTube. Check out the website. We've got content, multiple articles coming up daily. Make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you again for your time. Good luck this week.